Okay, my research is on, well, I have a big research project on philosophy and drugs, psychoactive drugs in particular. Um, and right at the moment, that project is focusing on a philosopher called Immanuel Kant, who was in the 18th century. So he's in the Enlightenment. Um, and he's a particularly important philosopher because he's still incredibly influential, not only in philosophy, but also in fields like psychology to some degree, and sociology and anthropology. So what I'm looking at is some of the things that he said actually about intoxication and the use of intoxicants, which turn out to be a little bit surprising. One thing that Kant is known for is his sort of moral philosophy, his thinking about the nature of right and wrong and what sorts of things morality demands of us. And for him, the notion of rationality is incredibly important. And in all of our choices and actions, morality, he thinks, demands of us that we show respect for our nature as rational agents. And this then raises a problem for the use of intoxicants and intoxication. Because if you're intoxicated, that has some impact on your ability to reason and make rational choices. And in fact, Kant says the various things about it that make it clear he thinks that it's very morally problematic. In fact, he describes the drunk person or the intoxicated person as lowering themselves below the level of an animal. And it's all because of his thinking that, we have an absolute moral duty to preserve our capacity to intelligently use our powers. This is what he puts very much at the center of morality. So, given that, it's actually a little bit surprising then that we also see him in another place praising what he calls social intoxication. Where we think if intoxication is absolutely morally disallowed, then why is social intoxication okay? So my project is looking at why he thinks that. It turns out that he thinks that getting a little bit intoxicated for the right reasons is perhaps morally good because it lowers our inhibitions and allows us to be more open-hearted and frank with other people. But I'm looking at how that tension could possibly be resolved. And also because Kant is located in the late 18th century and he's so important, it's a time when certain thinking about addiction and drug use and so on is just kind of getting going, the modern concepts we have of these things. So I'm also trying to place his thinking in relation to that and see how he's responsible for certain aspects of our current thinking. Something that's perhaps a little topical these days, given the recent legalization of cannabis, for example.